Monday afternoon, a violent storm swept across the Pyrenees Mountains, causing severe damage in many areas, especially in La Seu and Puera. Within minutes, torrential rain, hail, and strong winds submerged the streets, disrupting daily life. Temperatures dropped suddenly, shifting from oppressive heat to chilling cold in an instant. In the town of Lasergel, rainfall exceeded 43 liters per square meter in a short span, leaving many streets deeply flooded. Fire services received about 30 emergency calls related to flooding and landslides. The N260 highway, which passes through the municipality, was temporarily closed in both directions due to a landslide, while several public facilities, including swimming pools, gyms, and parks, were inundated. Residents were shocked by the storm's intensity. One local wrote on social media, "My grandmother said she hasn't seen rain this heavy and intense in years." The post was accompanied by images showing widespread flooding. In Puigcerdá, the storm brought an extreme temperature drop from 32.5 degrees Celsius to just 15.7 degrees Celsius within an hour. This nearly 17-degree fall clearly demonstrated the unusual strength of the weather system. In response, Catalonia's Civil Protection Authority activated the ANANCAP plan, warning of the risk of heavy rain and flash floods across central Catalonia and parts of the Pyrenees. Forecasts suggested that on Tuesday, rainfall could exceed 20 liters per square meter in just 30 minutes, raising the threat of localized flooding in northern and western Catalonia. Beyond Spain, Italy also faced destructive weather. A severe hailstorm struck Pimento, flooding Highway 128 near the Summitai Junction in Sonerby. A large pine tree was uprooted and fell, causing a traffic accident. Heavy rains continued across central inland regions and along the country's southwestern coast. Storms battered the new mountains, the towns of Usasai and Aglastra, and mountain areas near Capitara, bringing intense lightning and strong gusts of wind. Another serious incident occurred in Señori, where a massive pine tree collapsed onto Provincial Road 5, crushing 2 cars. At least 1 person was injured. The Cagliari Fire Department quickly arrived, rescued the victim, cleared the road, and cut down other hazardous trees to secure the area. These events highlight how extreme weather continues to pose a constant threat in southern Europe this summer. Experts warn that global climate change is making storms more violent and unpredictable, with hail, flash floods, and strong winds becoming increasingly frequent. There was little time to prepare. The sky, once clear, suddenly turned dark gray. People were still working, shopping, or walking outside when the first hailstone struck. Emergency alerts were issued, but for many, they came too late. By then, nature's fury had already begun. The sound of pounding hail echoed everywhere. Ice slammed into rooftops, vehicles, and sidewalks. Some hailstones were as large as grains of rice, falling so rapidly that within minutes, streets turned into a white sheet of ice. Panic spread as residents rushed indoors. Cars skidded out of control, buses stopped, and shop awnings collapsed under the weight of hailstones. The city center looked frozen, not by snow, but by chunks of ice falling from the sky. Locals captured haunting images, torrents of water mixed with hail rushing through the streets, sweeping along debris, leaves, and mud. Drainage systems quickly overflowed, turning avenues into winter rivers in the middle of spring. In nearby villages, the situation was even worse. Brown floodwaters swallowed roads. Parked cars were swept away like dry leaves. Entire homes stood half-submerged, dark and powerless, their windows empty and silent. Power outages struck large areas as transmission lines failed and transformers exploded. Repair crews worked through the night, but the damage was too extensive to restore electricity everywhere. Small businesses suffered severe losses. Windows cracked, roofs leaked, and market stalls were ruined. Shopkeepers swept up broken glass even as hail continued to pound outside. Farmers faced devastation. Orchards, vegetable crops, and even tea plantations were destroyed, leaves shredded, branches broken. Within less than an hour, an entire year's harvest was wiped out. By morning, local officials surveyed the destruction. Some farms could recover within weeks, but many would not rebuild until the next season. Early estimates showed massive financial losses. Emergency crews worked through the night. They cleared fallen branches, restored electricity, and distributed tarps to families with damaged roofs. Teams went door to door, checking for injuries and delivering food and drinking water. In China's Yunnan province, severe floods have recently caused devastating damage, ravaging both urban centers and rural areas. Yunnan is known for its mountains and dense river systems, but this very geography makes the province especially vulnerable to heavy rainfall. When the rain pours down, water rushes from the steep slopes, quickly turning valleys and towns into raging torrents that sweep everything away. This disaster once again exposes the fragility of human settlements when confronted with the raw force of nature. The steep terrain of Yunnan makes rainwater accumulation on the mountains particularly dangerous. As it descends, the water carries soil and rocks, surging into rivers, raising water levels, and submerging entire low-lying regions. Communities living near rivers have suffered the heaviest impact. Walls of water and mud swept away cars, homes, and vital infrastructure. Residents had little time to react. The floods rose suddenly and violently, forcing thousands of people to abandon their belongings and flee for their lives in mere moments. In the cities, chaos unfolded just as severely. Streets turned into rivers, vehicles were trapped, and underground facilities were submerged. Countless businesses and apartment complexes were inundated, prompting mass evacuations. Rescue teams deployed boats, rafts, and heavy machinery to reach stranded residents. Yet the fierce currents made rescue efforts extremely difficult. The crisis raises urgent questions. Are Yunnan's cities truly equipped with the flood defenses and drainage systems needed to withstand disasters of this scale? In the countryside, the destruction was even more heartbreaking. Vast rice fields and vegetable farms were buried under layers of mud and water, erasing months of hard work. Livestock drowned, and fragile rural houses collapsed under the pressure of rising waters. For many farming families, losing their crops means losing their livelihoods. In remote villages, landslides destroyed or blocked roads, making rescue operations nearly impossible. Transportation across the province was paralyzed. Major highways and railways were submerged or severely damaged. Flights were canceled due to safety concerns. Bridges, tunnels, and key transport arteries were weakened by rushing waters, cutting off vital supply routes. The disaster has laid bare the vulnerability of infrastructure when faced with floods of such magnitude. Tens of thousands of families were forced to abandon their homes, crowding into temporary shelters in schools and community halls. Survivors described the terror of waters rising with astonishing speed, leaving no time to save their possessions. Beyond material losses, the psychological toll has been immense, with uncertainty hanging heavily over the recovery ahead. Authorities moved quickly, deploying rescue teams, medical staff, and emergency supplies. Shelters were set up, providing food, clean water, and medicine. Engineers worked tirelessly to restore electricity, reinforce embankments, and clear blocked drainage systems. Yet despite these efforts, the overwhelming scale of the floods turned relief into a race against time, with many communities still waiting for help to arrive. Experts point to several causes behind Yunnan's escalating flood risks. Deforestation has stripped away natural barriers against runoff. Rapid urbanization near rivers has increased exposure to flooding. And above all, climate change has intensified rainfall patterns, making storms more unpredictable and more destructive. Flooding is no longer just a natural occurrence, but a long-term crisis demanding sustainable solutions. The road to recovery will be long and arduous. Homes must be rebuilt. Roads must be restored. Farmland must be rehabilitated before it can be sown again. Experts emphasize that Yunnan must make major investments in modern flood control systems, from levees and reservoirs to advanced drainage networks. At the same time, communities must be equipped with disaster awareness and response training to react swiftly when catastrophe strikes. Without such long-term measures, Yunnan risks remaining trapped in a vicious cycle: disaster, recovery, and disaster again. Yet amid loss, the solidarity and resilience of Yunnan's people shine brightly. Families share meals and shelter with one another. Volunteers join professionals to clear mud, remove debris, and help with rescues. Compassion, kindness, and community spirit have become the foundation that helps people endure. These acts remind us that even in the darkest times, human strength and unity can prevail. The floods in Yunnan are not just a natural disaster, but also a stark warning. They reveal nature's overwhelming force, the fragility of infrastructure, and the urgent need to adapt to a changing climate. Beyond immediate relief, the long-term goal must be to build safer, more resilient communities, ready to withstand the challenges of the future. Thank you for following this report. Stay safe, stay informed, and keep the people of Yunnan in your thoughts during this difficult time.
We sincerely thank you for taking the time to follow our report. Nature always holds both majestic beauty and the relentless challenges, and sharing information in a timely manner helps us better understand and prepare for every change. We hope you will continue to stay attentive, share, and join us in our upcoming programs. We wish you and your family peace, health, and safety in the face of any transformation of the climate and nature. We will meet you again in our next report.